of Germany. Please remain standing for this Star-Spangled Banner, accompanied by a special flyover from the 307th Bomb Wing from Louisiana. And now, please welcome, singing the anthem, Chicago's own, Jim Cornelison.
We're so gallantly streaming.
Roar at Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois, as the national anthems of the United States and Germany echoed throughout Chicago, Illinois. But while we have a moment, let's take a look at the starting 11s for both teams. Starting off with the U.S., no Chris Richards available, so Miles Robinson gets the start. Matt Freese in net. He made his national team debut just 364 days ago. And Weston McKennie, who came off the bench last week, he's back in the 11 as expected. And a couple of changes for Germany. Kai Havertz, who missed last match after taking part in the Champions League final with Arsenal, he's in for Dennis Undav. And Leroy Sané makes his 53rd start with the German men's national team in replacement for Leonard Carl, who is out for the 2026 World Cup. Beautiful scenes on the lakefront of Lake Michigan. Got an opportunity to see a couple of flyovers. And Soldier Field, home to Major League Soccer Chicago Fire and the National Football League Chicago Bears. Sold out today. It's a packed crowd as both fans of the United States and Germany want to give their teams a proper send-off before the 2026 World Cup, which kicks off on Thursday, June 11th. Both countries coming off victories Last weekend, the United States defeated 14th ranked Senegal 3-2. Germany with a dominant shutout of Finland 4-0. Each side comes in riding a good amount of momentum, and they finish up their starting 11 pictures and head to midfield. The United States in the dark kits with white letters and numbers. Germany in the white kits with dark letters and numbers. Now take to the pitch. Joshua Kimmich and Tim Ream, the captains for their respective countries, shake hands with the officiating crew. Piero Mazzo, our head referee today. All hands on deck as both countries have their eyes set on making deep runs of their own in this World Cup. For Germany, the last two tournaments have not gone their way. Did not make it out of the group stage in 2018 and 2022. The last time they did so was in 2014, their last World Cup victory. As for the U.S., having success in the knockout rounds, it hasn't been easy. In 2022, they did make it out of the group stage and fell to the Netherlands. That was the third straight knockout appearance for the USA. First time that's ever happened in their history. But their only knockout victory came in 2002 against Mexico. And certainly hope to set in motion a new era of soccer in the United States of America. The game has grown so much since the country last hosted 1994, and that man, Christian Pulisic, at the forefront of that increase in fandom in soccer. Matt Freese and Oliver Baumann, the respective starting keepers today. Getting some early movement. Jonathan Tah ready to defend his line. Folarin Balogun and Weston McKennie certain to be a part of any success on the U.S. attack. Germany starts things off. It's Florian Wirtz at midfield. At the sound of the whistle, we are underway from Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. The final tune-up for the United States and Germany before the 2026 World Cup. I'm Josh Lill, happy to have you with us this afternoon from wherever you are watching from. As you can see, a little bit of drizzle in Chicago today, and rain will be expected throughout this match. Around 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. local time, we'll have about a 20% chance of precipitation. So we'll keep our eyes on that to make sure it can be played through. Leroy Sané, Anthony Robinson defending. Sané onto his left. Heavy touch and a foul from McKennie. Sets up a free kick opportunity. Well into the attacking third for Germany. USA chants echoing. Matt Freese directing traffic. Early scoring chance in the second minute. Kimmich, Wirtz, and Sané over this ball. Kai Havertz motion forward a little for one last message. Leroy Sané. A short wall. Kimmich backside header, and Germany has struck. Kai Havertz, fresh off his goal in the Champions League final, has made it 1-0. Unbelievable on the set piece. And Havertz working through the crowd. It's onside at the moment. And his header right by Matt Freese. They left him vulnerable. And the 6'4" German with an emphatic start to this match. What a moment for Germany. A highly contested affair that they've walked into today. The call does stand onside. And it's Kai Havertz with his 22nd goal in his 58th match with Germany all time. Kimmich on that right side with early pressure, and Mauricio Pochettino certainly having to think things over as we're already in the 4th minute and his side trails by 1. One thing that the USA were quite vulnerable defensively for was the counterattack. Senegal were able to break through and wreak havoc quickly in this 3-back system. A lot will be demanded of those on the outside, mainly Serginho Dest and Anthony Robinson, to get back and help the likes of Tim Ream and Alex Freeman. But on that play, it was just a glorious set piece, finished by a clinical goal scorer. Robinson falls in. Through to Pulisic. Kimmich giving him no room to work. It does stay with the U.S. Julian Nagelsmann certainly has to be pleased with the start from his side. Fast starts are so critical, not just in any international match, but in the World Cup specifically, setting the tone for the match and making life that much harder for the opponent as Germany win it back. Quickly off the throw-in, Sané. Little hot potato action from the ball. It finally gets out of that 10-foot radius and sets up the captain, Joshua Kimmich, on the throw-in. Kai Havertz, the goal scorer. Certainly won't be the last time he touches the ball today. Germany lead this all-time series, 8 wins, 4 losses, and in World Cup competition, picked up 3 victories, all via the shutout. They've won 5 of their last 7 against the Stars and Stripes, and threaten again in search of a second. Pavlovic. Mecha through. Sané rolls it around. Kimmich. Joshua Kimmich credited with the assist on the Havertz goal. Unleashes Sané. Can't keep it in, and Havertz puts it through. But it did cross the byline. And from any angle in the stadium, you could tell. But Kai Havertz is putting himself in the right spot to convert. Skill and precision are one thing, but where you can get on the pitch sometimes is the most crucial aspect of being a goal scorer. That time, Leroy Sané, his efforts not enough to keep it in. It is still a 1-goal affair. And Julian Nagelsmann, you saw there briefly, his first ever match at the helm of the German men's national team was actually against the U.S. That match came a few years ago in October of 2023. Here's another look at it. Kimmich right to Havertz, unmarked. Havertz goes back post and works across the body of Matt Freese. Havertz now 3 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 matches for Germany. He is on a roll. And the U.S. have struggled to maintain any of possession or composure in their attacking third. Space for Germany. Jonathan Tah. Joshua Kimmich. Pulisic forces him inside. Kimmich, certainly an inverted right back, has that ability to cut into the midfield and help out on the attack. He's aided it here. Centering ball. Deflected by Tillman. Troubled along the byline. And Germany keep this onslaught of pressure continuing on as we near the 10-minute mark. Nathaniel Brown with the throw-in. Just his 5th cap for Germany at the left back spot. In recent days, it's been David Raum who's gotten the start on the left side, but Nathaniel Brown has given Germany an edge and a fresh breath of air at that left side. Gives a lot of support and allows players like Florian Wirtz to cut inside, wreak havoc. Brown very offensive-minded. Has great instincts and can just keep things a little tighter at that left back spot. Certainly on the opposite side with Kimmich, a true veteran. This now his 110th match in cap for the German men's national team. 107th start. Not a lot of room for the U.S. to work. Pulisic, quick touch, feet up ahead. Flag stays down. A battle, Brown, right in the face of Dest. It finally falls back to Ali Baumann. And play stopped. What a sequence there for Nathaniel Brown, all over Sergiño Dest. Pulisic found him in space. Dest, who scored last time out, and just yanks Nathaniel Brown to the ground. It's an easy foul call for Piero Mazzo. The pass by Pulisic, probably the most positive play we've seen offensively from this U.S. side, who has struggled to maintain the ball. Germany have looked quite confident going forward and have space to work. Through inside, Havertz in and barely misses. Kai Havertz on the front foot. You could argue he very well could have a brace, maybe even 3. And Leroy Sané was able to keep that ball in earlier. He's been in the mix, gotten plenty of touches, and has not been afraid to take risks. And we think back to that header goal, that is really where you miss the presence of Chris Richards. He brings height to the back line, standing 6'2". But his aerial abilities, defensive coverage, the poise, confidence, communication, that all goes away with Richards out of the lineup. And Matt Freese, you could see, barking orders at the field players in front of him, trying to keep everyone engaged and on the same page. And Pulisic a little overzealous with that ball. Chris Richards' abilities are unparalleled. And Mauricio Pochettino will have until 24 hours before their first group stage match to either keep him on the roster or make an injury substitution. Freeze clears, and Pochettino quite confident that Richards will be ready. But as for this match specifically, simply not fit yet. Again, Richards torn 2 ligaments in his ankle last month. Slippery ball as the rain begins to pick up here at Soldier Field. Tillman, floated ball in. Pulisic, Christian Pulisic has McKennie in the middle. Ops to Balogun. Balogun centrally and puts it ahead of Dest. Excellent pass from Fuller and Balogun, but a tad bit ahead of Sergiño Dest. The idea right, but the execution lacking. Sergiño Dest scored in the 7th minute with the help of Christian Pulisic against Senegal. Won't get a goal that early this time around, but very close to creating chances a couple of times. An offside call and an errant ball have prevented Dest from challenging the likes of Oliver Baumann. Tim Ream, the captain, controls. Bumps back to Freeze. Against Senegal, the U.S. did just about everything right to win that game. On the stat sheet, they led in shots on target. They had double the amount of fouls of Senegal, which you wanted to see in terms of that aggressiveness and setting the tone. Robinson into tiptoe, does keep it in. And they had all that success in the midst of possessing at just a rate of 46%, but that's what you expect from a team like Mauricio Pochettino's. That heavily relies on play, on the counter, and in transition. Ream. Robinson. Alex Freeman, the Plantation, Florida native. Inside to Ream. And Germany giving them space in a baiting fashion. Freeman pressured a bit, sees daylight. And Malik Tillman falls in to provide aid to Ream. Robinson, a daring pass eventually collected. Anthony Robinson draws the corner kick for the U.S. Well, it didn't look promising on that initial ball by Tim Ream, but Anthony Robinson able to corral it and play this one off of Joshua Kimmich. A much-needed corner kick for a USA team that has struggled to create chances today. From distance, a rocket over the head of Ali Baumann. Mauricio Pochettino can't decide whether to keep the coat on or not with the rain and the sun. Getting an equal opportunity to shine on the pitch today. But from distance, Baumann tested. It would have been a tough save to make if it was on frame, but the aggressiveness from Serginho Dest has to have the United States very excited for the World Cup. Can they rely on aggressive play from their wingbacks? And if he's feeling himself, the opponents certainly won't have it easy. Balogun off the header. Fuller and Balogun has Pulisic. Balogun's shot blocked by Jonathan Tah. And it's back-to-back corner kicks for the United States, and they're starting to get this crowd into the match. There's a little more energy in the stadium after Germany struck in the early stages of the match. And Jonathan Tah, just his presence in sheer size, standing 6'5", not easy to work around if you're the 5'10" Fuller and Balogun. Adams. Dest. Freeman out to Dest. Robinson plays it around to Christian Pulisic. Onto his right. Ball played centrally. Couldn't find a head. And the United States keep their foot on the gas pedal. They've been so good in the wide areas, and Germany have gotten the message to defend the flanks. Robinson. Balogun couldn't settle it. And Germany, it's known for Coach Nagelsmann, want to win the ball back quickly. And the U.S. have daylight. Tillman. Had betcha there. Fans at the edge of their seats, as the U.S. have been lurking in the attacking third for the past couple of minutes. Can they keep it in? Yes, they do. Dest. McKennie, his feet inside to Pulisic. And Joshua Kimmich prevents the clean touch. Robinson, nifty move. Anthony Robinson has that one jarred free. And Germany can work in transition, but they'll opt to slow things down. Germany switched the field of play to Leroy Sané. He goes again for another switch. And the header prevented. Robinson in the vicinity. Serginho Dest, a big part of why the U.S. was able to maintain the ball in the final third. But Germany have responded. It's very much follows the characteristics of Julian Nagelsmann's teams to apply a high rate of offensive pressure. Early on, they've pinned the U.S. in their own end, very deep. Over the last 10 minutes or so, the hosts have found a way to get back on the ball. Whistle from Piero Mazzo. Holds play, and it's against Germany, and the U.S. can retain the ball and set up shop. Weston McKennie back in the starting 11. Many questions were asked of why he might have been held out of the starting 11 against Senegal, given the player profiles that did start the match for Mauricio Pochettino. Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, Serginho Dest, Tyler Adams, Anthony Robinson, many of the players that McKennie playing next to and behind all saw starting minutes. But for Weston McKennie, it also was a good opportunity to come in late to the match. It was a big part of leading the U.S. to victory after they conceded a 2-0 lead and pulled away eventually to win 3-2. Felix Metsä. Wirtz chases in the corner. Florian Wirtz. Kimmich could not connect with Felix Metsä. Miscommunication gives it back to the U.S. And Tim Ream had to get to that ball quickly. It seems so many times today Anthony Robinson has been under duress in that back left corner. That's to be expected with the three-back system. And also with the likes of the 38-year-old captain Tim Ream, Robinson gives you a little bit of speed and help in those helter-skelter moments when the Germans put on that onslaught of pressure that we've seen so many times, not just in this match, but in years prior, since Julian Nagelsmann took over as head coach of this team. Sané. Another one of these German forwards that is in great form heading into the World Cup. Sané, 2 goals and 3 assists in his last 5 matches. Kai Havertz before the goal today, a pair of goals and 2 assists in his last 4, and Florian Wirtz, 3 goals and 4 helpers. These German forwards getting hot at the right time, and it will certainly be needed with Leonard Carl out for the World Cup after sustaining an injury. Specifically, it was a torn muscle bundle, in his left quads. And Sané, inaccurate cross. But those 3 players previously mentioned will be key for Coach Nagelsmann in keeping this attack going forward. Now, a hydration break is now taking place at Soldier Field, and it took headlines when Mauricio Pochettino pulled out a laptop and basically guided the U.S. through all the good, the bad, the ugly, and the great that they saw prior to that break against Senegal. And he mentioned it's unusual. He started doing it when he was with Espanyol, and it's been helpful to his players to see their actions. And there he goes, logging into his laptop. You might not want to forget the password, but he feels that when he shows the guys exactly what they've been doing, they can see and feel what needs to be done. He still doesn't like the water break, though. He feels like it breaks up the momentum of the game in action. He'll gather his guys, and while we have a moment, let's take a look at how we got here. Kai Havertz at the start of the match. A header beautifully placed by Joshua Kimmich on Havertz. When you're 6'4", not only do you breathe a different tier of air, they might say, but you're more susceptible to headers and the success that comes with them. And as an answer for all the United States faithful in this crowd. Mauricio Pochettino instructing his players on how to defend set pieces and prevent getting trapped in their own end. Again with Chris Richards, a player you certainly miss in that scenario. They'll have to work around it. And Kai Havertz maybe did not have the club season that many would have hoped with Arsenal, 6 goals and 5 assists. But certainly, after being out for 10 matches with the German men's national team, whether it was just simply not playing or due to injury, he came back in his second match return against Ghana, recorded a goal. And of course today, the main reason why the Germans lead. Both countries hit the reset button. Christian Pulisic finally broke the drought. 20 matches in international play without a goal. That dates back to November of 2024. He ended that skid against Senegal. And certainly has the backing of the fans to will him to another today. The U.S. have the throw in deep in their own end. Not ideal, considering the pressure that Germany have put on U.S. We're back underway from Soldier Field. Germany lead 1-0, and I'm Josh Lill. Happy to have you with us on a beautiful afternoon from Chicago, Illinois. Final tune-up for both teams before the 2026 World Cup. Serginho Dest out in open races, and it was a clean challenge. He doesn't like it, and Piero Mazzo quite confident in his ruling. He's echoed with the Boo Birds that have gathered at Soldier Field. Pavlovic. Daniel Brown taken down. And Robinson was quite excited in the action. Loved the physical play. And Piero Mazzo with a late whistle to check on the first German man that hit the deck. And Jamal Musiala, a little ginger to get back to his feet. Another look at it here. Weston McKennie with the challenge. And it was Brown, pardon me, back to his feet and good to go. And Kimmich has to race that one down. Pulisic in pursuit. Zane through on the quick touch from Mecha. The U.S. win it back, and Anthony Robinson puts the defender on ice. There's been plenty of hockey games played at Soldier Field, but no ice in the vicinity. Quick moves from Anthony Robinson. Can he get out in open space and create? Tim Ream has found him a couple of times today, but it hasn't been very clean. We all know the U.S. are good on the counter, but Germany with a smart tactical move, baiting the U.S. Playing out of the back in a traditional build in possession has not been a strength of this U.S. team. Germany sitting low. Gives the U.S. an opportunity to find success through this adversity before the play in the World Cup. Pulisic runs it through. Adams takes a shove. It was deemed clean. The fans, of course, unhappy. They felt like the previous challenges on Serginho Dest and Tyler Adams warranted a foul call. Fuller and Balogun in pursuit. Kimmich taken down. Ball's loose. Jersey might have been tugged, and Pulisic whistled for the trip. Oh, what a dangerous sequence for Fuller and Balogun. And Piero Mazzo quick to his step, because Germany wanted to catch the U.S. off guard, maintain possession. Joshua Kimmich at right back. Very good in the attacking third and has stellar crossing capabilities. Musiala through and does draw the corner kick. Jamal Musiala throughout the year has fought through health and has battled to get back to full fitness. Missed 25 matches across all competitions this year with a fibula injury. Still a big part of Bayern Munich winning the Bundesliga. And you bring in the conversation surrounding Musiala and the fact that Florian Wirtz didn't have the easiest of seasons with Liverpool, just 7 goals. That's where you really miss the presence of Leonard Karl, the third youngest starter in the history of the German men's national team. As the U.S. under pressure once again. A player like Karl really allows you to come in for relief if Musiala's fitness isn't where he'd like it to be, or if Wirtz might not be converting at the rate that Coach Nagelsmann would like. And of course, Hassan Ouedraogo called on last minute in replacement of Leonard Karl, now the new 26th man on this German men's national team roster. Matt Freese in his 15th start, in his 15th cap for the U.S. men's national team. Sat behind Matt Turner last match. Freese coming into today a record of 9 wins, 4 losses, and a draw with 3 shutouts when between the sticks for the U.S. It's a year ago tomorrow that he made his debut for the U.S. men's national team in a loss to Turkey. And those 3 shutouts, a big part of that run to the 2025 Gold Cup Championship match, where the U.S. would fall and finish second, but nonetheless Freese with that knockout competition experience ready to go. Serginho Dest's cross knocked out of play, out past the byline, and another corner kick for the U.S. It has to be a little frustrating for Mauricio Pochettino. His side, they've been crossing the ball at a high rate, but none of them really have been successful. Anthony Robinson and Dest have been blanketed by these outside players for Germany. The corner kick, so vital in a day where crossing has been hard to come by. Might have hit the head of Freeman, and it eventually rose to Leroy Sané. Robinson with the poach, keeps it in the U.S. attacking half, but a slow roller, a dangerous ball, and Ream tugged down from behind. And he is shaken up on the play. It was an awkward fall for the U.S. captain. A dangerous ball into the midfield as Kai Havertz wraps his arm around Tim Ream. A violent foul nonetheless. Piero Mazzo sharing words with the 26-year-old striker, and Ream back to his feet. Tim Ream at 38 years old, pretty quick to his feet, given the hard challenge. And the U.S. squander that opportunity and give it right back to Germany. Julian Nagelsmann's side has gotten forward quickly today. We haven't seen too much transition-wise for the Germans. And that is where the United States is most susceptible defensively. If they can continue to get to the counter, they will strike gold. And of course, set pieces are crucial, and that is how they found their first goal. It was an early foul. It paved the way for Kai Havertz to convert. But in possession, the U.S. fall to a 4-4-2 and have been quite solid. As you can see, Anthony Robinson joins in. Alex Freeman naturally a right back, and they'll be tested here in transition. Zane through, and Ream with a pivotal poke. The U.S. certainly have to keep their heads on a swivel in transition with how quick Germany is getting forward. They were ready there. But the question is, can they get back and stop play with numbers or regroup quickly? We haven't really seen that too much, but that previous sequence, if that is a sign of things to come for Coach Pochettino's side defensively, there's a lot to be excited about. Zane. Off the volley, it rolls and it finds Freeze. That strike taken out of air, and Matt Freeze was ready for it. It might have taken a deflection on the way in. It did. Oh, Jamal Musiala, so crafty in his positioning. Able to get a quick touch. Jamal Musiala, and Bayern Munich, a 6-time winner in the Bundesliga. Also won the German Cup this year, and also a Champions League and Club World Cup winner back in 2020. One of the most decorated players in all of Germany, a Stuttgart native. And he's centerpiece at that attacking central mid spot. We'll have to fall in defensively here. As Pulisic, who had been working on the left, creates on the right. And time after time, the U.S. picking up corner kicks. They have yet to strike gold. Oli Baumann directing traffic in the area, wants to be protected. We've seen one set piece goal already today. The United States would love an answer. It's Pulisic, out swinging ball, edge of the 6. Jonathan Tah away, and Robinson! Simply sensational, wondrous, and emphatic all in one. The U.S. flying high in Chicago. Jonathan Tah with the initial touch, and Anthony Robinson with the best goal he might ever see. A golazo. A stunner. Nothing Oli Baumann could do about it. Oh, it is barred down so close. It grazes the woodwork. And the U.S. backflipping their way into the World Cup. Mauricio Pochettino approves. And so do the rest of the fans at Soldier Field. Leroy Sané wins it back. The home crowd electric. Soldier Field is rocking. But the Germans get back quickly, establish their presence in the attacking third. Where can they find their outlets? Florian Wirtz. Didn't like the look to Musiala. One away by Tyler Adams. A chippy play nonetheless. And it sets up Pulisic on the break. He has McKennie ahead. Advantage played. Fuller and Balogun has Dest on the opposite side. Crosses it and cannot connect. Malik Tillman was in the vicinity and Christian Pulisic is down. A tough moment for America's man. Zane caught the left foot. Pulisic so dangerous in open space, and Leroy Zane, no malintent there, just simply tactical. As Pulisic gets back to his feet, let's take a look at the previous goal. Jonathan Tah with the initial header, and he served it on a silver platter for Anthony Robinson. Who doesn't love it? All hugs and smiles at Soldier Field. Could you have written it up any better if you're Anthony Robinson? I disagree. He's in search of a big moment. Played it every single minute in the 2022 World Cup. And he battled adversity as the U.S. go quickly. Pulisic floats it backside. Freeman, and it's batted out by Baumann. And they'll say it was last touched by the U.S. The crowd greatly disapproves, but Piero Mazzo has a better look than we do. Well, we might get a good one here. And Balogun offside, as well as Freeman. And the flag is raised on the far side. Correct call there from the far side official. Musiala hounded. Brown takes his space. And Nathaniel Brown and Jamal Musiala, a wondrous pairing on that left side. Kimmich all through, flag stays down. Havertz in search of the brace. It is whistled offside. And the U.S. come away unscathed, 1-1, and we are just 4 minutes away from the announcement of stoppage time. Kai Havertz got things started off, and Mauricio Pochettino made the proper adjustments, and Anthony Robinson followed suit. It took a while, but his goal certainly a memorable one. Slow roller through it. It gets to Dest. Dest over the head of Baumann. Only we can wonder how it did get through, as Serginho Dest was blanketed. Anthony Robinson. Balogun kept Jonathan Tah away from the ball. It forced Nico Schlotterbeck in helter-skelter mode to get back and defend, and his presence, standing 6'3", on the 5'7", Serginho Dest, was enough to throw Germany off their cylinder. Another man down for the Germans as we near the end of the first half. And Piero Mazzo greeted with a couple of explanations or desires for thereafter, and Kai Havertz down to the pitch. Adams quickly gets back to lead his side. Tyler Adams was not involved as much offensively for the U.S. last time out, but so good at directing players as that central mid. And many questions have been asked in terms of the availability at center mid if something were to happen and Adams' ability to play became in question. A lot of weight will fall on the shoulders of guys like Christian Roldan, Sebastian Berhalter. Who are good offensive players, but you miss that defensive prowess from the likes of Adams. Now Berhalter, though, quite good defensively against Senegal, and that certainly showed a lot of promise for Mauricio Pochettino's side, who have completely woken up over the last 10 minutes. Pulisic has green grass to work. Christian Pulisic lets it go. It took a deflection. And the U.S. head to their most favorite spot in the entire stadium, the corner kick flag. Christian Pulisic, you thought he was working to the left, and Jonathan Tah, that block, so critical. Prevents a clean chance on Baumann, but nonetheless, the U.S. have struck once off a set piece. They're in search of it again. Tillman in swinger, and that header off. Germany take over, and you certainly looked for that improvement at the end of halves as Adams ready to command that central part of the pitch. The set-piece execution has been better for Germany under the guidance of Mads Boudkereit, the specialist coach for Germany. As coming into today, they had scored 8 goals of dead ball situations in their last 8 matches, and of course today will go off the free kick inside the first couple of minutes of play, as Tim Ream pressures Havertz, breaks it free, and Tillman attempts to get out and run. McKennie pressured. Germany win it back. Mecha, 3 minutes of stoppage time announced. The 1-1 scoreline certainly has changed the conversations for the U.S. and Germany alike, but a 2-1 lead for either side would really make the difference. Musiala goes down. Piero Mazzo waves the finger. Pulisic has it knocked away by Alexander Pavlovic. Germany in hopes of a penalty. Mauricio Pochettino had to catch his breath after that one. And Balogun grabbing the jersey, whistled for the foul. That's a no-brainer for Piero Mazzo. But again, composure for Germany at the end of halves, both in the first and second frames of play. Will be keen getting out of the group stage for the first time since 2014, and in that moment, they had handled corner kicks so well for the U.S., prevented crossing scenarios, and a lackluster touch from Jonathan Tah set up one of the best goals of Anthony Robinson's career. Joshua Kimmich dispossessed. Pulisic, room to work, has Balogun. Pulisic with Dest trailing. Pulisic has his shot denied. And once again, as I certainly sound like a broken record, another corner kick for the U.S., and that is just physical play from Christian Pulisic. Not afraid to get crafty and create contact with Germany's captain. Sometimes if you want a job done, you just simply have to do it yourself, and Christian Pulisic has silenced any narratives throughout the media. He went 20 matches without a goal. He had a goal and an assist versus Senegal, but more importantly, Pulisic has looked very much more physical on every challenge, every action. And it's Robinson out to Pulisic, sees daylight, and Pulisic has that one knocked away. And a little frustrated in search of giving the U.S. a lead before the break. Nico Schlotterbeck in the right spot at the right time. The U.S. again. A little more threatening off the head of Balogun. An acrobatic attempt from Tyler Adams, unsuccessful. Germany likely to have one more rush here, and Weston McKennie wants to see the end of this half. And there is the first half whistle. Germany and the United States head to the locker room, even at one apiece. Kai Havertz got things started off within the first few moments of the match, but that man, Antonee Robinson, after the U.S. struggled to create chances and get any sort of action going in the final third, converts off a corner kick, and we are 1-1 leveled at Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. We'll be back with highlights and more coming up next. $62,500 fans on hand at Soldier Field in sold-out fashion in Chicago, Illinois. I'm Josh Lill, happy to have you with us today. The United States men's national team even at one apiece with the Germany men's national team in the final tune-up before the start of the World Cup on Thursday. We're excited to have you with us. Chris Richards unavailable today for the U.S. men's national team. Miles Robinson starting in his place, and with Richards, you really miss those aerial abilities to defend headers, and it's a big reason of why Kai Havertz struck gold at the start of the match to make it 1-0. But of course, Antonee Robinson would level things late, and we'll get to those highlights here in a few short moments. But what's to look forward to? Well, for the United States, they begin their journey in the World Cup on Friday, June 12th, against Paraguay in LA, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And for Germany, they'll have to wait a few more days on June 14th in Houston. Curaçao, they'll have their first ever meeting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. No reported subs for either side, as both Mauricio Pochettino and Julian Nagelsmann want to get the best looks at the starting 11 that they'll see throughout the group stage matches in the World Cup. Of course, we talked about the injury to Chris Richards for the United States, but Kai Havertz without Leonard Carl today. Leonard Carl, at 18 years old, provides such promise and can really put the pressure on the opponents. But Kai Havertz, Leroy Sané, Florian Wirtz, Jamal Musiala have been clutch on the attack for Germany. And we're ready to go for the second half of play between the United States and Germany. We're happy to have you with us. I'm Josh Lill. Sure to be an exciting final 45 minutes of play between two teams in the top 20 FIFA rankings. We are just 5 days away from the start of the World Cup on June 11th. Neither of these teams will play, but there will be so much anticipation as Mexico will host South Africa and Korea will take on the Czech Republic. Those are the lone two games on opening day. Early movement, Kai Havertz taking advantage of his space. Robinson defending. It was last touched by the United States. Early action on that right side. Leroy Sané certainly was a handful for the United States defense. Same with Joshua Kimmich. And against lesser opponents, you might not see him utilized as much, but against good teams like the United States, he'll be vital in hopping into the midfield and on the attack, but certainly key on set pieces as he takes here. Kimmich, the 31-year-old outswinger. It's daring. And Sané tried to do his best impression of Anthony Robinson and could not come through. Alex Freeman knifing his way through the defense and does draw the foul. Heavy contact from Felix Mecha. McKennie, Freeman. McKennie can't get inside, finally finds that chance. Malik Tillman taken down, and Mauricio Pochettino begging for an explanation from Piero Mazzo. Havertz covered. Pavlovic around, taken away by Balogun. Fuller and Balogun. Malik Tillman slides it through. Christian Pulisic denied. A second chance rejected, and the United States somehow cannot convert, but the offside flag is up. My, oh my, chance after chance, but it all would have been waved off as Malik Tillman caught behind that back line. But a couple of good practice save opportunities for Ali Baumann on Christian Pulisic. It all started with Fuller and Balogun on the takeaway and could not punish Germany and make short work of the visitors. Musiala plays it off the U.S. That right side could be a key attacking point for the United States with the offensive aggressiveness of Joshua Kimmich. It forces Jonathan Tah to cover a lot of ground from behind, and he's a good defender, but the quickness might not necessarily be there. They'll have to work upfield quickly. It's Havertz. He leaves it, and it's Matt Freese who stops Mecha. Havertz able to put the brakes on, and Mecha from distance forces Freese diving to his left. He stays composed to make the save. Jonathan Tah back there, hounded. Kimmich, Baumann to the near front row on the far side. Mauricio Pochettino has been in a lot of close games since he's taken over as head coach of the U.S., and Pulisic goes down on his own accord. He couldn't disagree more, but the U.S. maintained pressure in the attacking half. It's hard to get by these big center backs for Germany. Schlotterbeck's 6'3", Jonathan Tah, we mentioned 6'5". They cover a lot of ground and take up a lot of space. So it forces you to be a threat from outside the area, and Pulisic looking for his chance. Collides with the bigger Schlotterbeck. Slow roller from Adams, taken away with ease. Jonathan Tah into traffic. Havertz. Musiala. Florian Wirtz. Very versatile, can also drop in as a twin 10 with Jamal Musiala, but very aggressive on that top line. Roaming around the box right now with Havertz and company. It's Brown. Havertz. Shot blocked. Adams knocks it down. Pavlovic recovers. Schlotterbeck. Musiala evades McKennie and Adams and creates room for Mecha. Mecha dispossessed from behind, the challenge deemed clean. And Pulisic, oh, what a fun battle and a crafty move to keep it away from Joshua Kimmich. Pulisic has had his fair share of disagreements today with Piero Mazza. And how about this? Crafty touch. He put Kimmich in the spin cycle. Germany does take over. Mecha. Zane goes down. Tillman there. And a foul in threatening territory against the U.S. And Pulisic refuses to let go of the ball. Mecha wants to go fast, and Piero Mazza won't allow it. Now this is a similar spot from where Germany converted on their free kick early on in the match, and there is the touch and foul. Clear as day as Kimmich goes down. Now it is on the opposite side of the pitch, but the free kick took place on that right outer half of the box. This is the bread and butter for Julian Nagelsmann's side. He was Kimmich to take last time. It appears he is the man for the job again. Leroy Sané there, and Nico Schlotterbeck giving some inside information to both Sané and Kimmich. Plenty of height, and there is Jonathan Tah, Kai Havertz, Nico Schlotterbeck. We'll call them the 6'3" club. Right in front, maybe for a quick deflection. Mecha is near side. Long ball, not even close for Leroy Sané. Matt Freese, start number 15 in his history with the U.S. men's national team. He's come a long way from Harvard University. Knew he was an early talent back in his collegiate days. Saved 78% of the shots he faced there, and then would go on to climb the ranks of professional soccer in America. Mazza wishes for the foul. It's quickly played ahead, touched by Pulisic, and heavy if that. Pulisic loves the look, approves. In the right spot, but just could not get the touch he desired. Christian Pulisic mentioned those goal droughts. They happen, it's difficult. But mentioned even if the ball can go in by accident, if it can knock off the ankle in a wonky way, or maybe go off your hip and somehow get by the keeper, it's those little moves that can set a good run in motion. Foul against the U.S. Malik Tillman right there. All over Alexander Pavlovic. Germany's aggressive approach paid off against Finland. And they scored in a variety of ways. First one came off the set piece. Second goal, due to the high press. They've shown they can get it done. It hurts you in so many areas, and that forces a team like the U.S. to have to put that much more thought in their defensive actions that might be involuntary on a regular day, but against a team like Germany, you have to ask a lot of questions of every single pass, how it could work, who they could find, because they have so many options going forward as Musiala unleashes Havertz. Mecha. Musiala into Mecha. Ream won't have it. Chris Richards having a laugh, hopes to be ready by the U.S.'s first game against Paraguay on June 12th. In the box, chance and confidence, and it's put home for Germany. Leroy Sané had been knocking on the door all match. The German faithful in the crowd erupt. They had settled down in the area, and it's Sané who can rifle it past the outstretched arms of Matt Freese, who's quite frustrated, and Miles Robinson might have gotten a deflection. He has now been front and center of both goals conceded to Germany. Leroy Sané, who's been such a threat all day in terms of the ball movement, going from one end to the other, cutting inside, creating on his left foot. It's left off for him, and he does not miss. Goal number 17 in his 76th cap with the German men's national team. Dest. Little over a half an hour left until the announcement of stoppage time for the U.S. to climb back. Germany on the counter. Havertz misses Musiala. Frees off his line, collects. Miles Robinson did not mark Kai Havertz on the first German goal, and then might have taken a touch and allowed Leroy Sané to get that shot off cleanly. The absence of Chris Richards continues to haunt the United States. And as Mauricio Pochettino plays with a three-back system, that central defender spot, never so important. Seems to be the biggest Achilles heel for the United States right now, and Germany smartly have tested that spot. Sané. Nobody there. Miscommunication with Joshua Kimmich. He keeps, and back out to Pavlovic. At the hour mark, Germany have just jumped on top 2-1, courtesy of Leroy Sané. Musiala. Sané. Good hustle to keep it in. Robinson takes away that play into the area. Offside against Germany. And a plethora of substitutions set to come on for both teams. Mark McKenzie, Gio Reyna. A couple of substitutions for the U.S. along with Austin Trusty, but starting off with Germany, they'll enter the pitch first. Dennis Undav, who had the brace against Finland in atop the formation. Florian Wirtz will see the end of his day. David Raum also in for Germany. Nathaniel Brown will make way for him. Valdemar Anton in. And Dennis Undav all in for Germany. Anton has started in 4 out of the last 5 matches he's played for the German men's national team. Took part in 44 matches and tied his career high for goals with 3 with Borussia Dortmund this year in his club season. Gio Reyna replaces Christian Pulisic. Weston McKennie sees the end of his day. Sebastian Berhalter gets key minutes here. Late in the match that the U.S. need a goal, and Mark McKenzie will fill in on the back line. He'll replace Miles Robinson, who's certainly not had it easy today by any means. And the substitution changed. It's actually Anthony Robinson, the lone goal scorer for the U.S., that checks out. Austin Trusty will replace him. The rest for Germany, David Raum, again a regular starter at the left back spot before the emergence of Nathaniel Brown. This is the 37th cap for David Raum. Started all 3 matches and picked up 2 assists in the 2022 World Cup. And Dennis Undav, of course, coming off a stellar performance against Finland. Looks to maintain good form. But coming into today, Dennis Undav, 6 goals in 8 caps for Germany. You like the odds if you're scoring 75% of the time. Germany with life. Following the substitutions, it's Raum. David Raum. Alex Freeman giving him no room to breathe. And Mark McKenzie at center back gets his first touch of the afternoon. In search of Balogun. Mark McKenzie, who won the 2020 MLS Supporters Shield with Philadelphia Union. Now with Toulouse, one of many Nations League winners on this roster, a 2-time winner. And he started 4 out of his last 6 matches that he's played with the United States. Based on what we've seen from Miles Robinson in these 2 friendlies leading up to the World Cup, will Mark McKenzie possibly get the start if Chris Richards is unavailable? Foul against Germany. And Piero Mazzo draws out the spot. Also for the United States, Gio Reyna in. Very versatile at that right winger spot. Passed up an opportunity to take a shot in the Senegal match. You certainly would like to see more aggressiveness from him. When the buildup is very wide, that's where Reyna isn't used as much. But in possession, he certainly will be needed. As teams like Paraguay and Australia are going to sit low. In those matches, it'll be Gio Reyna's opportunity to help lift the United States to new heights, excuse me. Possibly get out of the group in winning fashion. But Gio Reyna so crucial in the advancement of the ball. A bit of a locksmith on this U.S. roster in terms of the build forward, but right now, Florian Wirtz wreaking havoc. Alexander Pavlovic, back to Wirtz. Pavlovic, curler over the head of Matt Freese. Alexander Pavlovic had some hip problems over the last 2 games. Key in the Nations League in 2024, but that is not a good sign. Anthony Robinson getting checked on by the training staff. The U.S. need him. He brings all the quickness and ability going forward on that left side, and as we mentioned, can help a veteran of age in Tim Ream cover ground a little quicker and more efficiently. His absence would certainly be fatal for this U.S. team. Hopefully nothing too serious for Robinson. As we play on, Germany with the lead. Leroy Sané right now with the game winner as it stands. Schlotterbeck. Not the greatest pass in the world, and the U.S. can take over. More substitutions getting ready for the United States. Saw Tim Weah and plenty others ready to come on and make their mark on this match. And Germany did something today that they did not do against Finland, and that was make substitutions right after half. They waited a little longer this time around. Julian Nagelsmann quite confident in his 11. Whereas the U.S. last time around, they made 10 substitutions. Sebastian Berhalter was the lone constant between the first and second halves of play against Senegal. We're 4-3-3 defensively right now for Germany. They're marking that initial pass into the formation. Malik Tillman couldn't get a clean handle. Gio Reyna covered up as well. Germany knows they can shut down the U.S. centrally. And in the breakdown of possession. And even though crossing and service is where the U.S. find most of their success, Germany still quite content with letting them have those opportunities. They feel like they have the height disadvantage to take away those aerial chances. It has worked today. Tillman goes down. The first booking of the afternoon shown. It goes the way of Germany. Piero Mazzo quick to his pocket. And David Raum with the late collision there on Malik Tillman. And he couldn't believe it in the moment. Piero Mazzo was quite convinced of his call. And Tillman did get the worst of it. Good to see him back to his 2 feet. Well, you saw this in the first half. Another hydration break here at the 70th minute as Germany lead the United States 2-1. Kai Havertz got things started off in the second minute. How about that? Missed the previous match due to the Champions League final with Arsenal, where he scored just 6 minutes into that affair. Certainly Kai Havertz has the hot hand when scoring early on in matches. Arsenal would fall in penalties, but Havertz again, an impact player for Germany today. Anthony Robinson, after the U.S. had looked stumped over and over again in the attacking third, convert off of a corner kick in the 37th minute to make it 1-1 headed into the break. Plenty of fans on deck for both the United States and Germany, and there is Robinson. Did a couple of backflips after that goal, and the fans repping their Chicago teams and the U.S. as well. Out in full force today. Certainly were silenced by Leroy Sané. Leroy Sané with his 17th goal in his time with the German men's national team. They've been critical in the ball movement today for Germany, and in terms of the breakdown of this United States defense, a lot of the success in that area has fallen on the shoulders of Leroy Sané. Will certainly be a handful to deal with come the World Cup. Max Arfsten, one of 6 substitutions on for the United States. Ricardo Pepian, Brendan Aronson, and Christian Roldan. The list goes on and on. Captain Tim Ream checks off. Mauricio Pochettino mixing things up. Also, Tim Weah, we mentioned earlier on, into the match. And there's Brenden Aaronson. He has had one heck of a week or so. So Brenden Aaronson got married on May 30th. That was last Saturday to his now wife, Milana, who he met at a Sweet 16 party back when he was 16 years old. He's been on one travel path. He's gotten a lot of airline miles for sure. He traveled from Leeds United to New York City for the men's national team roster reveal. Headed over to Fayetteville to take part in training with the U.S. men's national team. Then to South Jersey for his wedding. Came back to Fayetteville for training, and finally back to Charlotte for the match on Sunday against Senegal. He was actually an hour and a half late to his own dress rehearsal, and he had never even met his wife's extended family. So you talk about the pressure of the World Cup, these friendlies, and the greatest pressure of them all, meeting the in-laws. There's certainly been movies made about those extravagant affairs. And then it was a special moment. Paxton, his younger brother and a current forward for the Colorado Rapids, was his best man and a best chance for Germany. Knocked down, and Freeze scrambles to get to the ball and might have taken a collision. And Freeze did, holding on to his head in a bit of pain. Musiala with a shove on Roldan. Things getting physical. This is an NFL stadium, but that tackling not warranted in this type of football. Centering ball, and Wirtz collides with Matt Freeze. He is good to go. And back to Aaronson. His younger brother and Rapids player, Paxton, stepped in as best man. And that night, Brenden woke up at 2:30 in the morning, got less than 3 hours of sleep, returned to the United States men's national team in training fashion to be ready for these last couple of matches. It goes to show commitment. And certainly life can throw you a few forks in the road nonetheless. It was a good problem to have. He got to celebrate with his wife Milana, and certainly getting playing time today as a wrap and a bow to turn this one full circle. And he had mentioned once they had found out that these friendlies would be centered right around the time of the wedding, that him and his wife, their faces kind of flushed a bit, considering not only he put so much time in getting ready for these matches, but his wife, fiance at the time, had put in even more time to planning this perfect wedding. He mentioned Mauricio Pochettino. It's just great in those conversations, easy to talk to in those moments. He's human. We're all human. Brenden Aaronson mentioned, and he is having a crazy 10-day span in his life, one he'll never forget. And Ricardo Pepi over the head of Aaronson. Flips play. Reyna calling for it in the box. Receives. Reyna double teamed. Gio Reyna, no room to work, and a sliding shot slowly rolls to the feet of Ali Baumann. Helter-skelter play in the box. And the USA cannot come away with a netted goal. Baumann plays the long ball. You saw in that collision, Florian Wirtz all the way up by Matt Freeze, and has that ability to drop in right next to Jamal Musiala. Play as a false nine or even a striker if needed. And that again is the versatility that Julian Nagelsmann built this roster upon. It's one of the big advantages they have. And now with Dennis Undav in, wearing number 26 in white. Would love to keep a scoring streak going. Of course, Dennis Undav gives Julian Nagelsmann a great problem to have as he flicks that one forward, but it's inaccurate. Undav had a great second half with Stuttgart in the Bundesliga season. Finished across all competitions with 25 goals and 14 assists, and helping his club qualify for the Champions League next season. And with Kai Havertz on Champions League duty last match, it really gave Deniz Undav an opportunity to showcase his abilities and really make his case to be in the starting 11. Could have a chance to receive as David Raum sends that one right to Matt Freese. And against lesser teams, that's where you might see Deniz Undav get his starting minutes, as Kai Havertz is so good on the ball and can just mentally and physically wear down teams. He's also really good in his link-up play with the midfield. But nonetheless, you have two options at the striker spot. Many teams are in search for one, as Undav nearly had another. And Mauricio Pochettino certainly will look to improve defensive play in the box, as they have struggled mightily, and Undav, from a play that didn't even look like it would stay alive, nearly converted. David Raum and company continue to carry out the philosophy of Julian Nagelsmann and that onslaught of pressure, winning the ball back quickly, making short work of the opponent. Germany take over. They did not allow a single shot on target against Finland. Today they've allowed the goal, but in street terms have looked like a brick wall nonetheless at times, as the US have been unable to build in possession in consecutive manners. Jamie Leveling also in for Germany late. What a memorable day he had against the Netherlands back in 2024, his German men's national team debut. Scored a goal. And today just his 5th appearance. A teammate of Deniz Undav in Stuttgart. Leveling added 11 goals and 12 assists. The dozen assists, a career high in club play for Leveling. Many of these German players getting hot at the right time. More substitutions to be made. Nadim Amiri, the first sub for Germany, as we near the final 10 minutes of the match. Angelo Stiller also in for Germany late. Julian Nagelsmann begins to empty the bench and get these players key and vital minutes before the World Cup begins. Florian Wirtz, Musiala, and Felix Metscher see the end of their days. Nico Schlotterbeck finds Raum. Leon Goretzka enters the midfield for Germany. Goretzka, his 70th cap for Germany, such a milestone, and congratulations to him. Maximilian Bayer, just his 9th cap for Germany. Sebastian Berhalter switches the field of play. The U.S. threatening, bouncer in. Joe Scally steps to it. Oh, a difficult shot. And an even better save from Ollie Baumann. Joe Scally attempted to come off the bench and continue to wreak havoc. Baumann did get a touch. And the corner kicks in which the U.S. not only converted their lone goal on, but have seen time and time again today bring the fans at Soldier Field out of their seats in an attempt to tie things with the 10th ranked team in the world. Yeah, Jonathan Tah right there. Had no doubt that he would get there in time and stand true, as Berhalter dancing along the line. He's free, centers to Aronson. Brendan Aronson loses it. It falls to Weah. Whistle and contact inside the area. And Piero Mazza not having any of it. How about Sebastian Berhalter? It did go out of play. It took a second for the officiating crew to realize. Nifty moves by Berhalter, but if the field was extended by maybe half a foot, he would have been good. The chance would live on, but nonetheless, Germany take over in hopes of holding on and heading into the World Cup with a 4-0 record, undefeated in 2026. It won't be easy. The United States set to bring plenty of pressure. Undav denied immediately. Raum. Valdemar Anton chasing. Germany wins it back. Leon Goretzka inside. It falls. Amiri so close. And he'll want that one back. Such a quick chance created in a fast and vicious spot. If close, Matt Freese would not have been able to get there. Joe Scally, very much of a grinder on this team, a true defensive player that when the United States need reinforcements on that back line, he can come in and they don't have to worry about what he has to give attacking-wise or defensive-wise, splitting both. You bring Scally in, you know what you'll get from him defensively, and that gives you a bit of confidence to allow guys up on the pitch to play a little more freely. Advantage played. Anton, dispossessed. Houston with the takeaway. Ops to Gio Reyna. Germany sit low. I'd love to see Reyna quarterback this attack and find ways to cut through this Germany defense, which has been so compact today. The lone goal for the USA. It fell off the head of Jonathan Tah on a corner kick, and Anthony Robinson with a world-class finish. Other than that, Germany has gotten the job done when their number has been called. And have taken the premier playmakers for the United States out of the picture. And force a complete reset all the way back to Matt Freese. Whistled through, way up. The contact whistled, and the crowd feels that it was egregious as he collided with David Raum. Another look at it here. Tim Weah, yep, with the shove from behind. Has been a physical match, but Pierre Mazzo and company won't let that one go. Weah, another player for the United States. Very dangerous on the flanks. If he is to get minutes with Serginho Dest, that is a lethal combination in terms of the ability to create the underlapping, overlapping running scenarios and throw off a defense. Mark McKenzie, under 5 minutes to go until stoppage time. Scally had that one knocked away. Maximilian Bayer, all over the Lake Grove, New York native. Maximilian Bayer has not seen the most amount of playing time for Germany, just 4 matches since 2024. 3 of those were in the 2025 World Cup qualifiers. It's big moments here today to close this one out, possibly for Germany, and head into the World Cup on the right foot. On the flip side for the US, regardless of the result, win, loss, or draw, to face an opponent in the caliber of Germany and hang with them Says a lot as they go from distance. What a save from Oliver Baumann. Brenden Aaronson with a near strike, and Baumann had to go sky high for it. The U.S. want to go quickly to catch Germany off guard. Berhalter over for the set piece duties. Sebastian Berhalter, the outswinger. Another chance blocked. Gio Reyna in near identical fashion that Anthony Robinson found his goal in the first half. Reyna with it again. Played back, and Baumann has nothing to worry about. The corner kicks have provided so much opportunity, and Brenden Aaronson with a curler. Baumann leaps into the Chicago sky to prevent the United States from taking away the victory today. The job's certainly not done as Baumann bails out his side. He'll send this one deep. Jonathan Tah with Ricardo Pepi in pursuit. Forces the giveaway. The pure presence of Ricardo Pepi, enough to throw Oliver Baumann ajar and off his game. But what resilience from Germany to win it back quickly, and they have space to work. The U.S. take away that opportunity. "90 seconds until stoppage time. How can they break down Germany, who have dropped more defenders in a 5-4-1 it looked like? Refusing to let the U.S. get to their most comfortable spot in transition. Force them to build out of the back. Scally takes a push, draws the foul. Maximilian Bayer plays on. Nifty move from Scally, and what a poke. Players falling everywhere, the physicality beginning to show. Nico Schlotterbeck to the ground. Took one for the team, and there's a bit of shoving going on. Tim Weah not mincing words with the German players. Piero Mazzo calms him down. Mauricio Pochettino helped up Nico Schlotterbeck, and here's another look at it. Here's the shove on Joe Scally. The U.S. go quickly. Schlotterbeck was taken down, and bookings were issued. Ricardo Pepi last to touch. Stoppage time right around the corner. Six minutes of stoppage time announced. That is plenty and ample time for the United States to even this one up, or Germany to put this one away. Waiting to see who that yellow card officially went to, following the foul drawn by Nico Schlotterbeck. Nice touch by Germany. Weah goes quickly, takes advantage of the space. A daring throw-in, finds Brenden Aaronson, and cannot win that one-on-one battle with Jonathan Tah, who stands tall and strong. No room to work. And more shoving going on. Nico Schlotterbeck and Tim Weah getting into it. We saw this interaction just a minute ago. It's been physical all game. The tempers flared for a bit. And now you see the emotion show. It's understandable. Both countries playing for pride as Mauricio Pochettino has an exchange with Nico Schlotterbeck. And here's the previous sequence. Weah took out David Raum. And immediately a trio of German players over to Tim Weah to protect their left back. It's Weah into the books. But back to the previous point, Germany, one of the best countries in the world when it comes to football, won the competition in 2014, have not made it out of the group stage since then, in 2018 and 2022. And of course, the United States, as Maximilian Bayer confirmed for the yellow card just a couple of minutes ago. Mauricio Pochettino's side has only one knockout round win in the history of their football. You may look back to 1930 and that run to third place. Well, third place was given based on FIFA rankings and goal differential. But they lost their semifinal to Argentina. They've been far in the tournament, but have never, outside of 2002, won a knockout round. So you take both those facts from Germany and the United States, and there's a chippiness to this game. Each side wants to rewrite narratives surrounding their teams. But the United States and Germany, with recent coaching switches, Julian Nagelsmann named the man for the job in October of 2023. Mauricio Pochettino, just a year later, nearly to the date, in October of 2024. As Anton called for the foul. This is more than just a friendly or more than just a tune-up for the 2026 World Cup. It's about rewriting the narratives that may have written these two countries off, as this ball into the box. Sent away, and the U.S. can keep the ball and maintain this attack. Trusty. Anton with the dispossession. Last touch by the United States. And victory begins to taste that much sweeter for the Germans. The United States players all at the edge of their seats. They fought back once, late in the first half. Can they replicate their late half heroics against Germany? Germany throwing numbers at the ball. They like their odds in those 1v1 scenarios. And Gio Reyna grabbed from behind. Angelo Stiller with the foul, and Reyna can take over on the free kick. Leon Goretzka, a physical midfielder at the age of 31, has been around this team for the past couple of World Cups. And adds that physical presence that Coach Nagelsmann needs to close out this match and head into the World Cup in best of fashions. Arfsten, overzealous ball. Goal kick for Germany. Mauricio Pochettino looks to his bench in hopes of one more miracle before this one's ended. Germany boot this one away after the header by Tim Weah. And there it is, the final whistle from Chicago, Illinois. Germany comes into the United States and knocks off the Stars and Stripes in the final match before the 2026 World Cup. Such a hard-played match between both of these sides. A lot to be excited for. If you're a fan of the U.S. men's national team, they contended with one of the best in the world currently and ever to do it in Germany. And they look quite good confident and composed against a talented U.S. side following the thumping of Finland last weekend. He picked up 2 victories in this international window of 2 different kinds. Shows the versatility and the poise they're ready to carry into the World Cup in hopes of getting out of the group stage for the first time since 2014. The message for the U.S. men's national team: an opportunity on home soil awaits them. They'll hope to have Chris Richards, as you can see there in the white t-shirt, available at that central defender spot. They'll need him with the recent struggles of the options behind him. The goal for his side, it's simple: get that illustrious knockout round victory. Tyler Adams will be at the forefront of any success going forward. The U.S. today come up short against Germany 2-1. Again, your final from Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. Germany comes into enemy territory and defeats the United States 2-1. Kai Havertz got things started off in the second minute of play. That would make it 1-0 Germany. And then late in the first half, Anthony Robinson with a world-class goal would even it, headed into the break at 1 apiece. And finally, Leroy Sané, who had his footprints all over this match, connected in the 57th minute. That would be the game winner for Germany. And they'll head into the 2026 FIFA World Cup with 4 victories here in 2026. For our entire crew, saying so long from Soldier Field in Chicago, I'm in Chicago, Illinois. I'm Josh Lill. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Germany knocks off the United States 2-1.